Recording has started, so we are live now. We are on the go. So thank you everybody for joining us. Really appreciate you making the time. We'll give an introduction to our guests here shortly, but thank you, Sean and Cam, for also making the time, and Jess for helping put these on with us. Just wanted to first start by saying, I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the land. Well, several of us are on different lands, wherever you are located, of the traditional and unceded territories of our First Nations. For us, it's Ktunaxa Nation, the Kiskimik First Nation, and the Shuswap Indian Band. We are grateful to have that opportunity to work on in this territory. Our first guest today is Sean Campbell. So Sean works for Community Futures out of the East Kootenay branch, where they help foster strong, resilient local economies, engage in an economic development along with local, provincial, and federal government partners, businesses, community organizations, and other stakeholders. CFEK champions economic growth and sustainability throughout our vibrant service area. Sean Campbell is the general manager, and he is located in Cranbrook. Jess, do you have some comments on Cam?
Yeah, we're pleased to introduce Cam Whitehead, Executive Director for the Kootenay Association of Science and Technology. For those who don't know CAST and their work, they're a Kootenay-wide nonprofit organization, and they lead economic development throughout the region through the advancement of technology and innovation. CAM is based in Nelson, but their program is Kootenay-wide and does now provide support across the East and West and Central Kootenays. Yeah, so I'm not sure if we want to kick it off. Sean, did we want to start with you? And what we'll do then in terms of format is we can do a quick overview of each of your programs, offerings that are happening across the regions, and ways you're supporting businesses right now. Those of you who are viewing, please feel free to pop in with questions, and Pete and I will be monitoring those throughout the presentations, and we'll bring those up for discussion after we've heard from both of our guests today.
Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Pete, for the introduction. Just a quick overview of some of Community Futures programs and some of the things that that we are either hosting or offering ourselves that can support businesses, most particularly or most specifically in the current situation that we find ourselves in. Community Futures, traditionally we're a small business lender. We are a developmental lender, which means we operate in areas where traditionally the banks and credit unions are less likely to provide financing options. It makes us fairly responsive and fairly nimble, so we were able to quickly put together and offer an emergency loan product. We put that out in mid to late March. It's had significant uptake. It's up to $20,000 over 5 years with either 6 months of no interest or 12 months of interest-only payments, and then it's termed out over the remaining 5 years. Since we came out with that, the federal government has come out with its $40,000 program through the charter banks and credit unions, and Columbia Basin Trust has come out with a $25,000 program. And I'll talk a little bit later about how to access multiple streams if that's where you find your business needs. We also, Community Futures within the East and West Kootenay regions, basically through the Columbia Basin, offers the Basin Business Advisors program as well. And I think Corey spoke here a couple of weeks ago. And so he provided advice, or he described the services that they are providing for the most part one-on-one to businesses to help them identify ways to deal with a number of issues, whether that's dealing with employees and layoffs, or dealing with pivoting your business model, or dealing with how to reopen when all of this is when this is we're starting to bounce back into a more regular economy. So that's the quick introduction of what we're doing at the moment. I guess the last thing I'll say is that for our existing clients, one of the things that we were able to do very quickly is offer a 3-month payment holiday which is different than a deferral. We suspended payments, we halted interest, and we waived fees for the 3 months. That principle, we're going to extend the term of the loan by the 3 months and allow it to be paid off later. But it was the relief that we could provide to our existing portfolio of clients that was as immediate as we could give them support. So
that's great. Thank you so much, Sean. Just a quick question before we jump in with Cam, because it's a quick answer. Barry Thompson was just asking if the 20K emergency loan from Community Futures is still available, or was that just in March?
No, it is still available. We've actually been talking about that, about when that offer might expire, but we know that there's going to be another kind of a surge in need as businesses reopen. Some may need to replenish inventory and may need other working capital needs. And so we're going to probably keep that stream of financing open as long as we can.
And that's the terms remain the same, and it's up to 20,000, so businesses could take less if they required or only wanted less?
Yes. We are also, in addition to the emergency loans, we are also offering all of our regular loans as well. So if a business is, with Cam on the call here, it's pretty good. If a business needs to purchase technology to make a pivot, to change a product offering or service offering, we can provide a more standard loan product. And we're going to be creative with the repayment terms on that, because we know that unlike in normal times where business might be able to start to repay that loan more immediately, we know that the ongoing pressures are still there. So we're going to push out repayment of the loan, starting repayment of the loan further than we normally would.
Wonderful, thanks. I'm sure there'll be lots of more questions as people process the information that they get today. So yeah, Cam, over to you.
There we go. Yeah, hi everyone. I don't think I've met probably the majority of you, but I'm happy to introduce myself. So I'm Cam Whitehead, the Executive Director for CAST. We have, in the last year, expanded our operations to include the East Kootenay. We're really excited about that. Many of you have probably, had some exposure in the past with someone like Crick that was operating maybe 3 years ago or longer. Or they might know something that we've been up to, which was the Midas Fabrication Lab in Trail. People have heard of that, and there's certainly interest in the maker community about those initiatives. And so those are one of the things that CAST does, is accelerate these projects, these community projects. And the other portion is accelerating people. So their skills development, building their career, professional development, and also entrepreneurship, and particularly supports with businesses. So our regular program that most might be familiar with is the Venture Acceleration Program. And this is for tech or tech-enabled companies. Fairly wide definition of what that is a accelerator that is a weekly meet with a business coach, and is part of this VAP community, the Venture Acceleration Program community, which is a provincial-wide network of tech companies. It's a really great way to not just get one-on-one mentorship weekly, setting goals, but also getting part of this provincial network that really promotes your business. There's a whole mechanism around connections and promotion for that. So I really encourage you, if you could even potentially see your business as being tech-enabled, please get a hold of us. So what are we doing with COVID? Well, one thing we're doing is knowing that there are a lot of non-tech businesses out there. There's 16,000 small businesses in our region, and we know that the majority are not considering themselves a tech startup. So we have made 50 spots available for free tech consulting for any business. The deadline is coming up really quickly. That's on Friday. So that's called the Virtual Connection Day. So the deadline to apply for that is Friday, and it will take place. This Virtual Connection Day will take place next week. So super quick, and it's companies that want to take part in this will get connected with a tech expert for a 1-hour virtual meeting. They'll do a short review of your business and make suggestions on new technologies or processes that you might be able to adapt. You can make the focus of your call on one of three areas. Digital marketing, so website and customer acquisition, e-commerce, selling things online, or remote working, which many of us are doing right now. So please sign up, and I'll put that that link in the chat right now. Well, in a sec. Here we go. Just lost my. Oh, I got to send it to all attendees as well. So please apply there. So what else are we doing? Well, we have completely overhauled our website, incidentally. And one of the things that we just launched is a community events calendar. So it is possible now for you to add your own events. If you're, for example, if you're a service provider or a trainer or a consultant and you've got your own webinars, you can add these events as coming up to our calendar. So I will include that link here as well. And if you are just interested in what's going on throughout the Kootenays, well, there's the place to go. We have a number of neat courses coming up that you might be interested in. We have just launched the Nelson Innovation Center. Turns out it's not a great time to launch an innovation center right now. But one of the benefits to the rest of the region is that we have a function, it's called the Virtual Business Concierge, where you can send us an email and we'll connect it and say what you're interested in and we'll get introduced to our staff, and they'll work with you to figure out what supports are available. Right now, there's completely an overwhelming amount of stuff available for businesses and workers. And so the function of the Nelson Innovation Center has always been to connect people to what's already available and what people are doing, like great things that Community Futures, the Basin Business Advisors, Columbia Basin Trust, the province, the feds, and all these other supports. Well, like, let's help you sort through all of that. So please send an email to nic@cas.com. We have on the events calendar, you'll see that there's now a digital marketing series. So we've really been trying to focus on like ways to expand your, hold the market you've got and hopefully expand in the digital space through digital marketing. So it's a lunch and learn series. I know you're busy, but if you can spare an hour a week for the next few weeks, this is on Wednesdays, and it covers content strategy from blogs to Facebook, social media. And it's a really great instructor, Megan Adams, who I believe is based in Invermere. You're not signed up for our newsletter. So I would encourage you to do that. That's cas.com. And it'll have a pop-up and it'll ask you for your email. Encourage you to do that. Another way that we're engaging people across the region, we just launched a Kootenay Tech Worker Slack group, or Slack workspace. So please go onto the website, and there is a post about it, and you should be able to get an invitation to that. And that has different communities communicating about the events in their area. There's a whole bunch of tech and knowledge worker meetup groups. And CAS directly sponsors those. So in non-COVID times, we would usually pay for beer and pizza, get people to get together, have a speaker in, talk about something techie, and we would help offset the costs or pay for it. So at this time, we're really open for ideas of how to keep those things going. Well, maybe we have a delivery place that we might be able to support a group to meet remotely. Please get a hold of us for that. Yeah, I think that's about what we're doing for right now. So please sign up for a newsletter. Please check out our calendar. Please send us a note. We're here to help. I'd be glad to take your questions too.
That's great. Thanks so much, Cam. What a great overview of CAST and the work that you guys are up to right now. So we'll give everyone a minute, see if we have any questions coming in. Maybe we'll throw one out there. So Cam, for non-tech businesses who have had to really transition or pivot at this point, what's a couple pieces of information or advice that you'd give to these businesses in terms of engaging in technology adoption into their businesses, and kind of going forward?
Well, first, ask for help. Reach out, get connected to those that are doing it already. And there's lots of examples where companies have made the pivot. The best time to do it was 6 months ago. The second best time is today. So might as well reach out now with whatever big barrier that you've got right now. For the most part, it's people just don't know how. They don't know where to start. They don't know what supports are out there, and that's what we do day in, day out. So please reach out.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe a question for both of you. What examples or success stories have you experienced in the last, even 6 to 12 months? Because maybe sometimes businesses don't relate where they're at or what their product is to the things that your organizations are offering. So small, large, big, whatnot. If you could share, obviously you can't share names probably, but if you could share some general examples of success stories or even inquiries that you're getting these days that might help people relate.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's lots of examples out there, and you probably have them in your own community, and you've seen them or not even bought those products. That there are yoga studios that have started to post their stuff as live streaming. You can create a Vimeo account and even sell it to your membership, so that there is a paywall behind it. Even just Facebook live streaming. I do martial arts, and my instructor has made that available. He's actually based in Victoria, so it's worked out really well for me. There are companies locally, like bike shops. Jarek's around here has made their inventory available online. It's not as sophisticated as what a full-on e-commerce platform could be, but it's one where you can purchase online and then they get in contact with you. So it's a way to keep your products available to those that want them without your customers just disappearing and going to Amazon. Other companies that have done that are Valhalla Pure. I have seen a number of clothing stores actually make their inventory available, and so you can get very quickly, very cheap e-commerce platforms, things like Shopify, using Shopify on your website to get your inventory online. We're really, we're in partnership with Shopify, so we can recommend and get free trials and such stuff like that. And this is a way that don't lose your customers, because the chances are you might not get them back. This is a great time to be investing in your digital presence. This is stuff that you've probably needed for a long time and just never got around to. This is a great time to do that. And there are now loans available to do that, to even hire a consultant if you can't do it yourself. I'm working on ways to provide it at a much lower cost or free, but for the meantime, you probably want to take that on as a business.
Great. And Sean, would you have some examples as well, things to share?
Okay. One really good example here is how in March, when announcements were first made about closures for restaurants, restaurant in Cranbrook here, and I'm sure it's happened in other places, but this is what I'm familiar with, immediately started producing frozen meals, immediately recognized the needs that individuals were going to have, switched to delivery, which enabled them to keep a sizable number of their staff busy. They completely pivoted to a takeaway only business model, and it was very successful. Another company, we've been approached by a company that wants to begin to produce medical grade masks, not the N95 ones. They've applied to us for a $300,000 loan to make that pivot, to add that to a production line. And this is certainly outside of their normal the normal products that they produce. We're seeing we're getting lots of inquiries, particularly through the Basin Advisors. This is a good time that businesses are starting to talk about, being closed and having the time to really think about the business, and whether they're doing that formally through a business planning process or just having conversations and trying to find ideas to make that pivot. We're seeing that, and so we're seeing a lot of what we would call our more normal process loans. Those applications are still coming in. They certainly hit pause for the first, from mid-March to mid-April. We didn't see those, and we didn't really have a focus on those, but we are seeing those come back, and we're seeing that the businesses are, our business owners are seeing opportunities to make some changes, to expand their existing business, and or to do things in a new way. So we're really excited about the normalcy of that. I guess it's something strange to get excited about, but it's a very positive thing that we're seeing.
That's great. And again, maybe for both of you separately, but knowing that a lot of the products out there are loan and debt based right now, and those are big decisions at any time for a business. But I feel, as particularly now, it's even heightened, with the uncertainties of the future and how quickly things are going to rebound and all those kinds of good things. So what words of encouragement would you have for somebody on the call or somebody that's listening to this recording that maybe sitting on the fence saying, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if I should commit to that. I guess, Cam, you touched on it already, just open a dialogue, have a conversation and see and explore it. But yeah, if you have any words of encouragement or words of advice for those folks that you could share.
Well, if not now, when? I think to take advantage of the supports are then, and that entrepreneurship, is about risks. It's about being what you can stomach, and this is a very unusual time. But entrepreneurship never really carries this guaranteed path to success. It's about whether you can make that work and you've got the vision for it. I know it's challenging, but I think if this passes in 6 months, a year, or coming into 2 years, and you're able to come out the other side, be able to get through it, what else could they throw? You'll be in a good position to thrive. And I think particularly if you've adopted the digital tools that allow you to expand your market beyond the small community, potentially into a larger regional or global market in some cases, particularly if you're in a service type industry, things like consulting or that such. So if not now, when?
Perfect.
I think to add to that, I know that most of the solutions, or if not all of the solutions that are being offered to small businesses, are some form of debt. And that's, in more normal times, I've every once in a while fielded inquiries as to what grants or subsidies are available to for-profit businesses. And the answer is almost invariably there are none. And that has continued. What is there in the place of that is the supports through that CAST offers, that Columbia Basin Trust is offering through the Basin Advisors, what Small Business BC is offering, what the BC Chamber of Commerce is offering. There's a number of programs, there's a number of support systems that I would really encourage business owners to explore and to try and find what those what programs work best for them to support them through this. That being said, there's also, I think, a process, like with the debt products that are out there. There's quite a bit available, and I would honestly recommend Community Futures East Kootenay as kind of the third option. Columbia Basin Trust, if you've received support from the federal, provincial government, or BDC, or Community Futures, that automatically disqualifies you from the CBT working capital loan program. So that might be the first place that you want to, if your need is greater than $25,000, you would want to explore that perhaps first. And then the forgivable portion of the $40,000 federal program that's available through the charter banks and the credit unions, it's zero interest and there's a forgivable portion. So I would chase that one down first. I would definitely go to your financial institution and talk to them about whether you qualify for that or not. At that point, then I think Community Futures is an option if either you don't qualify or your needs are greater. Community Futures was first out of the gate because we didn't have to put together a federal program, and we're just a little bit more nimble. But so we were faster, but we're, I think, not now maybe the most beneficial option, most attractive option.
I think Sean raises a good point that there's a lot out there, and sorting through those is challenging. I don't want to muddy the signal in any way that there are some freebies out there, but for the majority of people, they might just be a distraction, and you don't want to go down that route. Finding a lot of these little government grants or a co-op grant or a student may be a distraction from your immediate needs right now, which are probably managing your cash flow and having a path to success. So there are a lot there. They really depend on your situation and what you might be able. I don't really have a blanket recommendation for this grant is fantastic. Some people will benefit from things like the employer training grant if they're a sole proprietorship. If they're looking at investing in themselves right now, that might be an avenue. But for the majority, it depends. So it's a really good idea to get yourself a good advisor, build your network, and to just have somebody walk you through it, somebody that's done it before. I think mentorship and a concierge, can't recommend it enough.
Mm. One comment I'll make, and Sean, you might have some comments on this too, is just on that government program, the 40K program. We at the Chamber are not immune to the financial challenges that every business is facing. And so we applied and were successful in getting approved for that loan. What's not clear to me that I want to be careful with others as well in terms of cash flow. We have a lot of seasonal businesses out here. Our chamber relies on events and memberships that come in at certain times of the year. And the way they're treating this loan through our bank, which is Bank of Montreal, is a line of credit till the end of this year converts into a 2-year loan beyond that for 2020-21 or 21-22. And then I guess any balance left at that time, you would lose the 25% that they would forgive, and it would convert into a 3-year loan on the balance for 23, 24, 25 at 5%. So what's not clear to me is, as of January 1st, 2021, are we on a monthly payback period? In which case, as a small nonprofit or a small business, if you're in seasonal operations, you would want to be really careful around a commitment of that loan. I don't think the loan was designed to take $40,000, put it in your bank, and pay back $30,000 on December 31st, 2022, and save that money. So Sean, I don't know if you've heard any examples of that, specifically that program, but it's just a word of caution and a reminder to do research and talk to your bank if you're going down that road.
Yeah, Pete, my understanding is that each of the banks and credit unions is setting it up a little bit differently, and that you should check with your financial institution as to how they're treating that $40,000. The government, I think, has also said that they will come back in the future to see that it's been used for the purposes that it was intended for. So if you take the $40,000, invest it, and repay the $30,000 later, you're taking a chance on being caught in an audit, and I'm not sure what the penalties at the time will be, but the government has really warned against the improper application for these products. When that balance comes due, Community Futures, we're preparing for a wave of applications as that deadline for the forgivable portion approaches. What we expect is for businesses that have taken advantage of that and want to get the full value of that forgivable portion, may be coming and looking to Community Futures for a small loan to pay off the balance so that they can take full advantage of that. That is something that we will look at the time. We won't probably look at that as an emergency loan, but we will look at that as a more than likely a micro loan on our books, which is a fairly straightforward, streamlined process, but it doesn't have the interest-only periods and whatnot that our emergency loan has.
Great, thank you for that.
We'll jump into the question box here. So we have a question from Ed from DevTel, who's one of our ISPs in the region. Is there any foreseeable support to hire staff once restrictions are lifted and businesses start to reopen?
Sorry, support's available to hire staff?
Yes. Any specific within your programs or ones that you're aware of across the region?
Well, there's a variety of supports it's mostly if you're hiring somebody from a barriered community, whether that be somebody, so in the West Kootenay, there's a West K Tech program, for example. There's probably an East Kootenay version of it through KES, I'm not sure. But usually for somebody that is on EI, at this point, I imagine that would include people who are on the emergency response benefit, but I'm not sure. And tons for students, and lots right now for students. So if you're looking at hiring somebody either on a co-op or a non-co-op, that there is the BC Tech Co-op grant, which is now $20,000 towards a co-op. And that could be for a tech company or for a non-tech company that has a technical role that they're hiring for. There's also the Summer Works program. I believe that CBT runs that, but I think the deadline has passed. There is a School Works program, which is for the school year. There is the Innovator Skill Initiative through Innovate BC and New Ventures BC, and that's for non-co-op students. So there's a lot out there. This is why I recommend. Depends on who you're looking for. Depends on who you find, but for the most part, you're going to find funding for youth being a big one. There is the employer training grant. So if you have somebody in mind that has most of the skills you're looking for or is close, but they just need that one certification or that one program or some general training, that one is a really great one to connect. It's complicated, it takes some paperwork, but it's much better than it used to be. It's an online application, you can be improved really quickly, and you can have them learn technical skills for that role. So I encourage you to look into it. It's workbc.ca, and if you type in BC Employer Training Grant, there's a variety of streams. If you've got some time to check it out, I recommend you do that, or reach out to us and we'll can answer some questions for you.
Sean, is that in line with the work that you're looking at as well?
Yeah, I'm less familiar with the programs that are available. My advice, and Cam's absolutely right, it does absolutely depend on the industry that you're in, the market you're in, the situation that you're in, what you're hiring for, whether you're looking to develop skills from within the business or to hire those skills into the business. My best advice is, because it's so unique to each business, is to reach out to CAST or to speak with one of the Basin business advisors and have that conversation, and have somebody that can help, reach out to somebody that can help you kind of navigate the programs that are available and try and find the best fit. So, and that may be one program, that may be multiple programs, again, depending on your needs. So I really would encourage a one-on-one conversation in that case.
Great.
non-tech related question, but from Sasha, do you know if there's any tourism industry specific assistance and if it's being considered? So I'll follow up with that one, Sasha. Yes, Kootenay Rockies Tourism is just announcing this week the Tourism Resiliency Project, and that will be specific navigation and pathway for tourism-based businesses. Not so much to the level of the detail of the basin business advisors, but you will be able to schedule calls and be referred to supports that are industry specific to the tourism industry. They do have a webinar coming on this Thursday, but also they are our guests next week. So we will have Wendy and Emily joining us from Kootenay Rockies Tourism, and they're going to be sharing the Tourism Resiliency Project, how to support tourism-based businesses in our region, as well as just some information on other programs that they're offering at this time. So Sasha, be sure to tune in next week, and we'll dive into tourism-specific supports.
Cam, I really liked what you said before. I think you said, you know, even if you could spend an hour on your business a week right now, there's lots of online trainings and roundtables and things that are out there. Maybe a quick recap. I know you mentioned a couple, but a quick recap from yourself and from Sean, what your organizations are offering in the next week or two that might be of interest to this group.
Yeah, for sure. One of the pieces of advice, I've been sitting in my own workshops and seminars, pieces that of advice that I've got that I'm trying to take to heart is to sow a seed every day. It's kind of a cheesy line, but like sow something and invest a little bit in yourself, that it's develop out your network, work on a skill, something that will develop into something in the future. If you don't start it now, it's going to hurt you at the end. So it's a very real call to action at this point. So what are we doing? Well, the first thing, just to recap, is that virtual connection day. So if you're a non-tech business looking for basically a tech audit, what could you do better? What sorts of things could you employ? Please apply. The link is in the chat. That's a good one to get in the works. The other is to go onto that events website link that I've connected with. That's cast.com events and workshops. That'll have a list of our various partners around the area. This includes the Columbia Basin Trust. It includes Community Futures regionally. It also includes our other partners, Futurepreneur, which is a loan-based organization that we can refer loans to, and Small Business BC. So we're a partner with them. That there's a ton out there. So no matter what you're doing, there are events out that you could get into, and most of them are free right now. And if there are some expensive ones, something that you've been really working on, you can look into this employer training grant if you're a sole proprietor, if you're an entrepreneur on your own. They will fund it, and it can be pretty quick. So yeah, there's lots going on. The other, that Lunch and Learn that CAST is delivering is the digital marketing series. So that one's on content strategy, and I've posted that link in there.
Great, thank you.
Just some kind of comments from our chat box right now. One of our retailers wanted to share. They have a retail store that received over 200,000 in inventory in February, March. Typically, we pay for stock with revenues from March, April, and May sales, then make our profit during the summer months. Our biggest stress right now is how to pay for this inventory in time without jeopardizing the shipment of our winter orders. They decided to send a very honest blanket letter to all of our suppliers outlining our concerns and ask for a discount on outstanding invoices and extensions on our payment. Surprising, many of them responded, saving us thousands and offering more of time. So that's really great feedback. I'd love to hear from the panel about, connecting with the suppliers and inventory. And also, Sean, what do you foresee or supports available? This is going to be an issue as businesses have kind of shuttered for the time being. A restaurant can't just start up tomorrow. There's product, there's inventory, there's merchandise that has to get put in place. So as part of that business planning process, what types of advice would you be able to provide to these businesses who are now starting to amp up for reopen in the coming weeks or months?
First of all, I really love that the retailer successfully reached out to their suppliers. I know that in more normal times that you'd be very hesitant to do that for a number of reasons. But I think that the scope of this economic challenge is making everybody realize that they need to do their part. And so I think suppliers are very aware that if they don't, support their end users and buyers, that they will fail, and then that will hurt their business down the road. So I would definitely encourage businesses to speak both to their customers and keep them informed, and keep some form of messaging, some form, whether that's sales or whether that's just some social media. Make sure that they continue to have that contact with their customer, but also reach back into their supply chain, and that includes, the federal government's come out with a federal or a commercial landlord program, rent relief program. Look to take advantage of that. Look to take advantage of everything that you can at the moment. But that's also very much why there's so many different loan products. And I realize that it's very scary. And especially if you're a retailer that took in spring inventory, that you're not likely going to have, as much success selling as we exit out of that season. But that's what these loan products are for, initially to manage cash flow. The next wave of applications that we anticipate is the restocking of shelves, is money for that. We know that it's lending. We are going to be as creative and as patient in delivering that capital to businesses as we can. It may be the case that the emergency loan product is not the best product for you. If you have time now to think about it and to have a little more plan within the application, we don't have to just stick to that loan product. We can offer more financing, and we can continue to be creative. But I would take advantage of as many paths or as many sources of financing as possible. The other I guess piece of advice is you're only going to pay interest on the funds that are advanced to you. So if you apply for us for a $25,000 microloan, take 10, and you weather the storm and don't need the other 15, you'll never pay interest on that. You'll use what you have, but you may have the balance of that in the event that you need it. So I would, again, good advice here is to contact our office. And if you're not in this area, if you're in another community futures service area, contact that office and talk to the business analyst, the loans officer, about your options. We often have conversations with business owners where we provide advice and we're not ultimately the lender that they choose. And that's fine. We're not a sales-driven organization. We're a success-driven organization. And so, sometimes the right product is Futurepreneur or Women's Enterprise Center or BDC or their own business's own bank. There's many options. Unfortunately, I guess at the end of the day, it is still, credit, and that's in uncertain times. That's a difficult decision to make. It's hard to pull the trigger on that. And we're trying to, given that that's all that seems to be available, we're trying our best to craft it in the most logical way for each business.
That's great, Sean. We really appreciate that as well. I do see Penny has her hand up. Penny, I'm going to try to unmute you here and see if think I have to promote you for a second. Penny, was there something you wanted to say, or was that just a waving hello at me?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, no, I'm all good, Pete. Sorry.
Okay.
I must have hit it accidentally.
No problem.
Thanks.
Okay, well, we're at about that time, folks. It's about 11:50 here. So we'll do a bit of a closing wrap up. Jess, I think there was a comment for you in the Q&A box you may have seen already. And you had some things you wanted to share. Maybe we'll just do a quick closing. Jess first, followed by Cam, followed by Sean.
Unmute, there we go. Yeah, thanks again everyone for joining us. Just to follow up, everything that was discussed today, the programs, links to CAST and their newsletter, those will be included in this afternoon's weekly business support email that's going out, and we'll recap those again on Friday. As discussed, next week we'll have Kootenay Rockies Tourism on our panel, so they will be digging into some tourism specific supports. And again, all of that information will be available on our newsletters that, as you know, come out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week.
Great. Cam, any closing thoughts or comments?
Yeah, no, I'm really pleased to have been invited and that I could make this work. Great to meet you all. If nothing else is clear from my presentation, get in contact. Like, check us out, send us an email, get in the newsletter. Look forward to hearing from you.
Wonderful, thank you. And Sean?
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to the business owners and the business or community leaders I see on here, and a number of others. Really appreciate the attendance of everybody, and I would encourage people if they to have their individual questions answered, please reach out. Our contact information is on our website, email and phone, and we're happy to have conversations and try to give the best advice that we have at our fingertips. And if we, often if we don't have the answers at our fingertips, we will chase it down and try and get the answers as much as we can.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again to our guests, Sean and Cam, and thank you, Jess, for helping organize this, the two of us. And thanks to all the attendees. We will see you back here a week from now with Kootenay Rockies Tourism next week. We will post this video hopefully within a day or two on our chamber website as well. So if you missed this or you needed to recap anything, that should be on there. And then just to Sean and Cam, if you had any PDFs or presentations or things you wanted me to add, I should be able to add that link to the video recording as well. So that if there's any resource tools you wanted to put on there, I'll try to capture some of the links out of the chat and add those as well. So with that, have a fantastic day, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.